So today is December 5th, and it is the birthday of Asuka Kazama. That's right, we are celebrating a fictional character's birthday. I have two Tekken characters that I love more than anybody else. It's King and Asuka Kazama. They are my two favorite Tekken characters by far. I have a tough time picking and choosing between Asuka and King. I think that they're both equally as good. Um, but if you ask me if I had to choose between Asuka and King, I'd probably choose Asuka to be honest. But I like them both equally, and I have a lot of character loyalty. I've been playing Asuka since Tekken 6. I've played her in 6, Tag 2, 7, and now I play her mostly in Tekken 8. And by mostly, I mean she's the character that I play the most. I love Asuka Kazama. I think she is a great character. And I first played her in Tekken 6 on the PSP, which is really ironic because now the PSP version of Tekken 6 is available on the PS5 through the Classics catalog. So that's cool. We've really come full circle here because I haven't played this game, well, I mean, before the Classics catalog in years. But it's nice to play this game again because I think that these are some beautiful stages. I wish Tekken 8 had stages like this. It's really nice. But either way, Asuka Kazama is a character that I first tried simply out of curiosity. I saw the opening animation in which Asuka like sails down to the ground on her bicycle, and I always thought that that was just kind of cool that they highlighted Asuka in that way. So I began practicing Asuka, and after messing around with her a little bit, she was actually the first character that I became somewhat decent with. Like I had the ability to sort of hold my own in a match. And whenever I was playing Asuka, I began thinking, I really want to play this character. I want to learn how to be good as Asuka. I'm going to learn actually how to play her. And, you know, considering the fact that Tekken was a completely different beast to me, like I normally just played like Street Fighter at the time and like Marvel vs. Capcom, I was very accustomed to 2D fighters. So entering the world of 3D with like sidestepping and floor breaks and wall splats, it was a bit of a new concept to me. But either way, I think one of the reasons why I gravitated so heavily towards Asuka was simply because she was like one of the easier characters to play. Of course, she was created for Tekken 5, but in terms of how she plays, she's more on the simple side. Like she's a pretty beginner-friendly character. And I think that was one of the biggest reasons why. Like I didn't feel intimidated when I was playing Asuka. But for King, you know, he's a little bit more difficult, but for King, I saw the Jaguar mask and the wrestling moves, and I was sold. I thought King was cool. But I always had this sentimental value with Asuka. And going back to what I said earlier about character loyalty, I played Asuka in Tekken 7 a lot. I play her in Tekken 8 because it's like I'm familiar with Asuka. I know how her moveset works. I know what the character's capable of. And I do like learning new characters in Tekken, but at the same time, I still find myself going back to like the same characters that I usually play. And at the same time, look at that low parry. Oh, man. And at the same time, I forgot what the punish was, by the way, because it's been a while since I've played this. But anyway, I have a lot of character loyalty, and I kind of feel bad about ditching some characters. A lot of players, whenever like a new DLC character comes out, they'll just ditch them at the top of the hat or the drop of a hat for somebody else. I don't want to do that because I kind of feel bad because I'm like, man, I haven't played as Asuka in a while. Oh man, look at Jack 6. She's over here looking like Gigas or something. I used to say Gygas when I was younger because I thought it was like Earthbound. Look at that outfit for Jack 6. Anyway, of course, I've loved that Asuka design, by the way. I think it looks great. I'm glad they put it in Tekken 8. Asuka's always had good designs. I like her Tekken 8 design too. Tekken 7 is probably my favorite. Maybe that's just like nostalgia, but I've always liked Asuka's outfits. Look at that, down through. Oh, that didn't kill. That's surprising. Look at the low parry. Look at the low parry. So one of the biggest reasons why I ended up playing so defensive, especially because Asuka is quite a defensive character anyway, she's got like parries and stuff. I played against people, especially in Tekken back in the day on the PS3, who were significantly better than me. Like they could mix you like nobody's business. You had to know what you were doing. And because I played against characters and players, I should say, who were significantly better than me, I learned how to be very defensive. I learned how to protect myself. I learned how to say, okay, I've got to wait. I've got to pick a counter or find the window at least. And I've got to prioritize, good neutral. And I think, there's different ways of learning. fighting game. Some people, like to take it slow and they like to sort of build it up over time. I was thrown into the deep end in shark-infested waters and I was forced to swim and I had to learn how to swim. That worked for me. And I would get a huge sense of accomplishment anytime I won a round against a particularly tough opponent. Or my first time winning with a low parry, I thought was like the coolest thing ever because I was like, I hope he doesn't throw a low. It was a Kazuya player. He threw a low. I parried it as Asuka. I put him on the wall. I thought it was just fantastic that I did that. And I was like, that's so cool. And it's funny looking back on this stuff now because I've known Asuka for so long. She's basically a childhood friend of mine at this point. Look at the down forward three. Now it's while crouching, down forward three. Look at Ganryu being juggled over here. See, this is a pretty stage too. Look at this. Why don't they add this back into Tekken 6, like stages like that? In my opinion, most of the stages in Tekken 8 are kind of boring. Look at the wall play from Asuka right there. Here's Paul Phoenix. Now, I loved how Asuka plays in Tekken 7 mostly. I like her in Tekken 6 as well. Tekken 7 is still my favorite version of Asuka. I think her Tekken 8 version is pretty cool. One thing I noticed about a lot of people, especially with Asuka, is that they talk about how her damage output is incredibly high. And I'm thinking, to be fair, her damage output has always been kind of high. Like, not just her, everybody. Look at this, prime example. Nice duck right there, and then Paul blasts me with that attack that did like 40% damage. That's forward forward 2, which they later changed to up forward 2. Anyway, I'm about to break the floor here. This is a beautiful round right here. Just a beautiful round. You couldn't ask for a better round than that, apart from me getting blasted by Paul Phoenix. I hope in the future of Tekken, like story-wise, now I understand that not a lot of people care about the story, I get that. But I just hope that Asuka actually becomes somewhat relevant to the overall plot of Tekken. Like, I hope she actually becomes an important character. They just kind of threw her under the bus the last couple of games. In Tekken 5 and 6, it did kind of seem as if she was being built up as, like, being one of the more important characters. And then in Tekken 7 and 8, she's just too busy running around with Lily. Which I think it's fine to have side plots as characters. I think that's fine. But it seems like in the last couple of games, her whole story is just, oh, what's Lily up to? Oh, what's she doing right now? Oh, she bought my dojo. That's crazy. Oh, she's my sparring partner. That's just kind of like her whole story now. And I just hope that maybe one day she'll be relevant somewhat. But personality-wise, I've always liked how Asuka is very confident in her abilities. Like during her intro, she's just like, hey, don't hold anything back, give me all you've got. She's very, very confident in her abilities, and I've always thought it was really funny that she, despite being like a teenager, would beat up like Ganryu, like a sumo wrestler, and then afterwards she would just say, man, you're weak. Or she would just, say something along the lines of like, that's all you got? Well, I guess I'll leave now. I'm gonna get on my bicycle and ride away. But I've always loved like her confidence, because she's just like, hey man, just give me all you've got and everything. And the idea of like, because she's like 18 or so in Tekken, she's like a teenager. And the idea of her beating like Heihachi, who's like this extremely grizzled, like hard veteran. Look at that low parry, by the way. And look at the wall carry here. That's beautiful. But the idea of her beating like Heihachi and just saying, man, you suck. I think that is so funny to me. It's one of the biggest reasons why I like Sakura in Street Fighter a lot too, because she is like a schoolgirl. She's no more than like 16 or 17. And she can just beat up a 7-foot-tall Muay Thai champion, like a legitimate badass, like with Sagat. And she can just beat him up, like it's no problem. I've always really, really loved that character type, or archetype in fighting games. Not saying that that's what Asuka is, but she's kind of similar, very confident. I'm not going to say she's arrogant, because in Tekken 8 she'll say, hey, it's not good to fight all the time. See you later. But I've always loved like her confidence and the fact that she knows that she's pretty cool. But anyway, I've talked about this for long enough. So Asuka Kazama, my favorite Tekken character of all time, tied with King, obviously. Happy birthday, I guess.